Hi, welcome to Rise. We're trying to elevate our lives to a higher level, a level that honors God, a level that allows us to become just a little bit more like Jesus. And we're using Him in this portion of the study as our measuring stick. Over the last few episodes, we've looked at a number of things, and today I want you to look at one last thing in this particular segment of thought, and it's simply this. I want you to look at the measure of His self-control. Jesus had this amazing ability, and I don't know all the reasons that He was able to do it, short of the fact that He is God incarnate. But the world around us sometimes, the self-control seems to be collapsing everywhere like the walls of Jericho. It just seems like people have lost their minds sometimes, whether it's related to addiction, to anger, violence, morality, issues of health. We're living in an age where it seems like the disciplines, the niceties, the basic human low bar of existence seems to be unraveling and shifting all the time. If you go back and read the New Testament, Jesus had to put up with a lot. Can you imagine what it was like to deal with the immaturity of the disciples? Can you imagine what it was like to deal with the abusive critics? Can you imagine what it was like to have so many deadly enemies? I mean, Jesus even at one point couldn't even get along with his own siblings, not because he was doing anything wrong, but because he was doing everything he was created to do, and his siblings couldn't take care of it. They didn't believe him at first. He was ultimately arrested and murdered simply by being who he was. He was tempted by the devil, provoked by fellow countrymen, challenged by the authorities. Eventually, he lost his freedom. He lost his clothing. He lost his well-being, and he lost his life. But in the midst of all of that, isn't it interesting to think back over that Passion Week especially? Jesus never lost his self-control. He provided the benchmark that we find in Proverbs 16:32, better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes a city. So how do you measure up? I know it's impossible to become just like Christ. That is a lifelong goal. It's a lifelong quest. But the resource that you have within you that helps you accomplish these things is the Holy Spirit. The inner working of the glorious Holy Spirit in your life is what enables you to become something else. And when it works well, you become part of that growing into the likeness of Jesus. So the need is to throw away our homemade yardsticks, just like the little boy from a few episodes ago. You can't make your own benchmarks and say, this is how I'm doing, this is how I'm growing. Because left to our own, we'd always think we're growing and getting better. But the reality is we may or may not be, but we don't know that until we use a measuring stick that is unchanging yet dynamic. A yardstick that is consistent yet all-powerful. That yardstick, that measurement stick, is our life in Him and how we measure up to the standards that He sets. And so that's what we've been talking about for the last few days. Now we're going to continue our conversation on what it takes to rise in our next edition as we wrestle through and go just a little bit deeper into what it means to elevate our lives in such a way that we live our life in honor to God. I look forward to joining that conversation with you, and we'll do it next time.